Welcome, guys, back to another episode of Grit Daily Dose with E Squared. Both myself and Emma are here on
We're
a
back.
lovely 8 o'clock on a Wednesday.
I'm so old. 8 o'clock is starting just to feel later and later.
Oh, yeah. Bit
My
by
toddler's
bit.
like wide awake at 7:30. I'm like, if you don't want to sleep, you can just go do the dishes and the laundry, and I'm asleep. I'll go to sleep at 7. That's fine.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, sometimes it's like, unfortunately, um, I'm covering a class for Cam, one of the other coaches, tomorrow, and he covered my 6 o'clock tonight. So I was able to come home early and work on some stuff right before the podcast.
Are you going to eat dinner at like 9 o'clock again, like you normally do?
Well, I had a snack.
Oh, there we go.
I ate before I went and coached, and then I came home and had a snack, and then I got on here. And so
I don't know. Was it
yeah.
last week or the week before? It was like 9:30. You're like, I'm going to
Oh,
have dinner now.
I was
like, what?
starving. Yes, I'm still gonna have dinner after this. I
A
was
second
starving.
dinner.
Like, yes,
That's what I had.
they have breakfast, or it's like, what is it? It's like from The Hobbit or something. Morning tea,
Morning tea.
breakfast, brunch, and lunch,
Yes, I know exactly.
supper, dinner,
Brunch number 2.
evening tea.
Yeah, I've never related to a scene more. I was like, that's me. That's me. I could play that role, but in real life. I
man.
literally just ate like a breakfast, like what I normally would have for breakfast.
Mhm.
Yogurt and peanut butter and fruit, a little bit of cocoa oats.
That's
And,
good.
yeah.
I was
There's like
inspired. Go ahead.
there's really good gluten-free oats at Costco. So I put coconut oil and cocoa powder, mix it up, and then I bake it. So it's like
an oat bake.
it's a spin-off of like granola without all the sugar, and you can put like sea salt in it too.
Ooh.
I don't do sugar right now, so it's my like chocolatey taste without the.
To be clear, so everyone knows, you don't do added sugars.
I don't do added sugars. I do me some fruit.
Naturally occurs. Y'all.
I don't know why.
All day, every day.
I guess to me, when I say
Trust
I
me,
don't do
people get
sugars, like I think about just process, like the
Right.
processed sugars.
Other people
the
will
added
look at you
sugar.
like, so what are you not doing?
So you don't fruit? No, I enjoy my life. Okay, I have.
Yeah.
I would like to eat bananas and and blueberries and strawberries and mangoes.
I did get inspired by one of my buddies, Dion. Dion, if you're ever listening to this, he inspired me to make my own bone broth.
Ooh, I want to
And
try
I have
that.
some beef bones, stew bones, that I went through the whole process of cooking them in the oven for a half hour, pulled them out overnight on the stovetop. It's like mind blowing. Then I chilled it, and
it is a
you
process.
can see like the thick layer of fat that's on top. Like it's crazy. I've never done that.
Yeah,
I can't wait because I want to make like
and then
a good old chili with it.
ooh, I just don't. You have to put them in a pot on the stovetop and like let it,
Simmer
for like ever
24 hours.
like hours. Yeah.
Yeah. I did it for
Can't
like
you-
18 hours.
That's crazy. Is there an option of doing it in an instant pot? I'm pretty sure I've seen a setting before.
Instant pot, crock
that's-
pot, you can do that because it's definitely a little sketchy.
yeah.
And you leave the stove on overnight.
Yeah, that's what I don't like. And I have kids with little fingers
and-
reaching everywhere.
Yeah.
My son too is he's getting big. Like when I have this little walker thing and he pushes himself around, and he's kind of he's a huge 7-month-old, so he's already reaching up, like getting close to the counter. I'm like,
sheesh.
When he's in that thing, so I have to keep him out of the kitchen because I need to start doing the safety locks on the drawers because he just starts pulling open the drawers. I'm like, quit.
Oh.
I thought I had a few more months before I had to worry about this.
All right.
All right.
Let's get into this. Again, guys, guys. Welcome to Grit Daily Dose with E Squared. Try to be a one-stop shop for everything science and experience-based knowledge, whether it's supplements, nutrition, exercise, and lifestyle. We really just want to bring you guys an honest education to hopefully help you along the way towards whatever goals you may have. Today's topic is fitness in real life. This is a really cool one to do. Because really, what is fitness?
Well, and we're so surrounded by that hardcore CrossFit athletic, elite athletes all the time. And not because that's an area of CrossFit that interests us. Not everyone who does CrossFit is obviously following and stuff like that. But I feel like if you are doing CrossFit, how you should be doing CrossFit, there should be some level of competitiveness, whether it's with yourself or, your past self or a buddy in the gym or whatever. And so a lot of times we can lose sight of like what fitness is actually meant to be in our real life. So like, why do we train the way we do, and why is it important? And so this, I think I've been thinking about this topic for a couple months. I feel very passionate about, because I feel like people just live for that hour or two in the gym, and then they forget that hour or two in the gym needs to also support all the hours outside of it.
Yeah, and really, this is where I wanted to start. Where, we'll talk about this. Fitness begins with setting goals, then looking at your nutrition, then actually moving your body, and then the frequency of it all.
Yeah.
And so the biggest point that I want people to understand is that where fitness truly begins is being able to physically get yourself out of bed and perform our natural human movements, not just easily, but flawlessly. And you had a good analogy earlier today where it's like being able to bend over and pick up your kid without worrying about
throwing
out your back
Yeah.
or possibility of injury. But this is anything. This is going to be lifting things off the ground and carrying them over a distance, or pushing them away from you or over your head. And like you said, with the whole,
it makes me think of like how many times I've had my kids with me, and I have a suitcase or a bag or a couple of bags of groceries and or a box, and my brain, carry the box with the kid. Like it's not, I mean, I don't even have to worry about it, because I know that the gym is supplementing the demands of my everyday life. But the amount of people that run up to me, they're like, you shouldn't be lifting that. Or like, they'll ask like, where's your husband? Like, they'll always wonder like, why are you doing that on your own? Or when I was pregnant and exercising, people were asking me, you should be home and eating and sleeping in bed. And I was like, everyone would say, they would ask me when I showed up, what are you doing? I remember I was 38 weeks pregnant and I was at CrossFit, and someone was like, what are you doing here? And I was like, what am I supposed to go do? I was like, go sit at the wall, like, and stare at the wall, like watch paint dry for the next 2-3 weeks till the baby's born. Like, I was like, I gotta prepare. I'm going to be, doing one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life when I have to push this baby out, and then somehow try to heal and sustain a life and bend up and, down all over the place and try to change diapers and, and then pick up my toddler. Like, there's so many daily lives or daily demands in life that I've never once even had to worry about picking up my kid. And like, it's never even been a morsel of thought. And that's purely just because I move my body 3 to 4, 5 times a week, so I lift very heavy weights.
Yeah, well, that's like what we want for a lot of people. Yes, lift heavy weights.
Yes.
But it's to be able to do those things and go through life with little to no worry about, am I going to throw my back out?
Yeah.
Or am I going to be able to do this? It's not even thinking about it and just performing the task.
I like the term, like, I work out, so I'm harder to kill.
Ooh,
The
I like that.
the one thing I need to work on is my fighting. Maybe just take some jujitsu or something, because if I'm ever in trouble, I might just freak out.
I
I
had
don't
a
know. Who knows?
I had a buddy today send me a thing on Instagram of like what's the movie It, the clown,
Yeah.
and he's like, when you beat the CrossFit guy who decided to do jujitsu, and it was literally It, the clown, like looking down at a guy, you know, calling a little baby and a fat little kid and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, I like to be around sweaty people. I don't want to roll around on the floor with them.
That's the one thing that keeps me like a little hesitant to
I don't
jump
need to
in.
try 31 different flavors of guys' sweat.
Ew.
I don't need that.
Yeah, I guess the what is attractive to me about it is like I would never like have to really worry about protecting myself or the kids if I'm ever alone and danger comes our way. Like I wouldn't have to carry a weapon because I am the weapon.
That's a lot of
That's
energy.
me.
That's a lot of energy.
I don't know, because I know I'm short. I'm not a really fast runner, so I probably would have to fight my way out of things.
Grapple.
Yeah.
But
I can
yeah.
throw a mean right hook though.
So you're like what? A buck something. And what if a guy like 250 pounds, 6'2"? What are you gonna do then?
At that point I'd throw out every like I'd try to make him laugh. I'd start tickling him like are you ticklish? Because like what I mean at that point, what do you I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
it's not very many options. But as long as you train for it, you're prepared for it. If in any situation,
and
more likely than not, down here in the Portland area, it's going to be some cracked out, scrawny dude. So
yeah.
that's pretty easy to defend yourself.
Yeah. And I think the idea too is that if I can, because the reality is if I were ever in trouble, my kids are also with me. So how can I best, protect them? Most
Right.
likely it's trying to run. And then if that doesn't work, I mean, I've almost knocked a 300-pound man on his booty before with one punch. So
Nice.
I can do it if I like get mad enough. I think it's the adrenaline.
That's it. You just got to piss you off.
All right. Okay. Continue.
Back to this.
All this is somehow related.
Well, it's all about like different purposes and setting different goals and being prepared for whatever life throws at you. Whether it's daily, everyday tasks, or if it's something like that where you need to prepare to defend yourself. So when we talk about fitness and some of the things that we're going to say, it's not always popular opinion. And that's okay. Because although we care about you, we don't always care about your feelings. Because we're here for the facts,
okay?
And to share true information. And maybe this information is not what people want to hear, but it's what they need to hear. And it always comes from an area of truly wanting to help.
And if you find yourself struggling with the words that we say, or whatever, you have like certain words strike a chord or anything like that, then I would recommend going back to our last week episode and listen to that one, because that might be a good help you kind of self-reflect on words.
Yep. Mindset and words. Yep. Or ask us, if you want to question something, ask us.
I mean, it's good to evaluate like why something would trigger you to feel a certain way. And it doesn't have to be a negative response either, so
maybe it's just misinformation and we're happy to educate.
Yeah.
So being honest, what does fitness in real life look like, and what does it take to get to this point of fitness? Well, I think right off the bat, we have to define what fitness is and what it is not. Myself, being someone that's come from doing a wide variety of modalities or types of training, or I've done powerlifting, bodybuilding, power building, done the group stuff like Orange Theory, or which is pretty cardio heavy. Video trainers like Beachbody, trained for a marathon, and then tried to do hybrid training where I trained for an Ironman, but also tried to lift heavy stuff. That doesn't work out very well unless you're like eating a ton of food and really splitting your training sessions. But yeah,
You have to be training a lot to try to balance that out. Yeah.
I believe, and I'm sure Emma agrees as well. I'm not speaking for her, but that CrossFit is the best form or type of training for people to become the healthiest versions of themselves or the fittest versions of themselves, just based purely on the scalability and the diversity of the training.
Mm-hmm.
And it's accessible to anybody.
What do they say? CrossFit's not for everybody, but it's for anybody.
Right.
Like anyone can do it. You might not like it or enjoy it or whatever, but literally anyone can do it. Because it's like any type of movement across any type of time domain, like all, we're not going to start spitting out the CrossFit quotes and
functional movements performed at high intensity.
Across broad time and modal domains. But the whole point of it is to get you moving in a lot of different ways for a lot of different periods of time. Some of it's functional, some of it's just freaking cool to be able to do. And most people choose what that is for them, but we could all probably agree like a squat and a deadlift and running and cleans are pretty functional. So
and if people want, like, I get arguments still times with people want to argue CrossFit being not the best form or there being different types of fitness. It's like, no, fitness, and we'll get into that, is like Webster's dictionary defines fitness as the quality or state of being fit, or the ability to, the capacity of an organism to survive and transmit its genotype to reproductive offspring as compared to competing organisms.
Wow.
That's helpful.
Not the direction I thought it would go.
And yeah, this is like some CrossFit-y stuff, but we're going to get into it. And I've had people who are bodybuilders who say, no, fitness is, the aesthetic piece, or I look fit, or I can do whatever you do. Like, sure. A bodybuilder may look fit, look real pretty, but that's about it.
Not to throw my husband under the bus. I love him dearly, but that man looks like a chiseled Greek god, and I've kicked his butt in so many CrossFit workouts. It's hilarious. So everyone looks different. Everyone enjoys different. He likes his, powerlifting with some bodybuilding add-ins. That's what he likes.
That's okay.
He loves that. And that's
okay.
And the 1 or 2 times he's seen me compete, he tries CrossFit and he's like, eh. I don't know if it's because I keep beating him or if it's just because he's like, I don't like breathing that hard. Who knows? But you would just you'd never know looking at him that it's like he doesn't really try that hard. He's just one of those annoying, genetically blessed humans. But to me, I'm like, I'm just glad he's doing something.
Right. And that's where we'll get into, after defining what it takes to get to that point. It doesn't take a whole lot. Fitness is easy.
Yeah. If you're consistent, I know we'll talk about it, but consistency is the biggest thing.
So CrossFit likes to define fitness in their own words. And actually, in the description of this live, if you guys go and watch it afterwards, I have the link to their page of what is fitness. And I like it. I like their explanation.
Is it fitness in 100 words, or is it
There's that,
something
and there's some
different?
other
Okay.
concepts. There's the standards, the general physical skills, and like where it's like then there's the metabolic pathways and
Did
all
they have
the
the
motivation.
sickness to fitness
Yep.
continuum on there?
Yep.
That's my favorite visual.
Yes.
It's so simple.
Right. That's why I encourage you guys to go take a look at it. And especially like the general physical skills when we talk about the physical aspect and how they play into your style of training, whether it's powerlifting or bodybuilding, or if you do the Orange Theory stuff, and see maybe where your training is missing some of this. And if you want to work on it, you don't have to. You
Yeah.
don't have to do anything.
Especially for me too. I'm always like, do what you will be consistent with. Like, yeah, would I love that runner to add in some specific lifts to support, joints and midline strength and things like that, and that quad to hamstring and glute ratio? Like, obviously that's ideal, but if that's going to completely turn them away from training or kind of kill their vibe or whatever, like, I don't want to do that. So I'm always telling people, do what you're going to like stick with and be passionate about, because that's better than doing nothing at all.
Right. And the first step that I have on here is fitness starts with setting goals or figuring those out. So this is where I kind of talked about that continuum. So maybe you're in an area of general health or wellness. Maybe you're in an unhealthy spot with your fitness or your, I guess, or fitness or body composition, or your overall health is not looking great, whether that's being sick, severely obese, eating disorders, or even addiction. Take the time to clearly lay out and define your goals, or at least the beginning of them. And if it's not on your own, which that can be hard sometimes, then ask a coach to help you. Whether it's in your box, get it with a nutrition coach, find a life coach even.
Ooh, life coaches are great. I heard someone earlier this week say, like, a lot of times people think their goals are like one specific thing, when in reality they just want to like feel better. And of course, and it's like kind of a mixture of things that can lead to that.
Right.
But I thought it was an interesting like simplification of like, everyone might want something, like a bunch of different things, and all their goals might look really different. But a lot of our goals can be similar in the sense of like, we just want to feel better. I want to feel better physically, but I want to feel that I'm like doing a better job as a mom and a wife and a coach and an employee. So yeah, when you have someone come up to you saying like, "Oh, I want to lose this much weight," it's like, well, what if we only lost half of that because we took the fat away and built up the muscle, like, but then you felt better. It's like that's why goals are so important to like talk with a coach about, or someone that's kind of qualified that'll challenge you a little bit. And they need to be something that is measurable, repeatable, and
specific,
like in terms of, and flexible in a way that is not like flimsy, but flexible in a way that's like, it can change as you change, because we're not ever meant to stay the same person. So if you have a 3-year goal, most likely by the end of the 3 years, you're going to be very different. And maybe you've accomplished that goal, or maybe you've accomplished the same goal, just a different version of it. Like, you just never know. So laying out the goals very clearly, but then knowing that sometimes they change.
And the cool thing about being with a coach is a coach can help you. While you might have that 3-year goal, to lay out a 2-year, a 1 year, and then steps to get you to that 1 year. Now that you're 1 year, steps to get you to that 2 year, and so on.
Yeah. Big goals need to be broken down very well. So otherwise they're just a little overwhelming.
And so once you guys have your goals set, and outside of goals, fitness really begins with nutrition, what you put in your body. And for many of us, I like this, thought had popped in my head, I think a couple of days ago, like when we're born, there's a large focus from our parents on what goes into our body. Why does it seem that dissipates as we get older? And you talked a little bit about it, so I really liked what you said.
The first thing when he asked me that prior to the show was, I thought about when we're younger, like teens to maybe late 20s, most of the time. Yeah, teen. I guess everyone can mature at different rates, and but for the most part, younger people are just a lot more worried about quantity than quality. Because you had mentioned like the quality is so much stressed so much at a young age. Like, why does that dissipate? And the first thing that kind of came to mind is that quantity is sometimes the evil twin sister of quality in terms of when we're younger, we want more friends, we want more fun nights, we want more things to do.
So you might want to try more different foods.
Yeah.
And obviously these foods that are sweet, salty, savory, high in those trans fats or processed are all designed to get you hooked.
Yeah.
And get then those feel good hormones going.
Yeah. So, and I feel like that's really normal. And then eventually you start to fade into like, oh, I'm going to keep, instead of like 30 friends, I'm going to find, and they're like my party friends or whatever, my good time friends. I'm going to find like 3 or 4 solid, core friends. And then, instead of going out all the time, I'm going to go out once a week. And I don't know if that's just because like, as we get older, there's more responsibilities to worry about. There could be a lot of different reasons, but I think as you grow, you want more out of your life than just living for the weekend or
just for that moment,
feeling good in that moment. Yeah. So quality has to increase. And then oftentimes as you grow too, things get more expensive. So you can't have as much. So the life is pricey at the moment. So there could be 1,000 reasons, but that was what I thought in terms of maybe why quality decreases.
So when we talk about nutrition, it's making sure that you're getting enough food to eat for your goals, whether that's putting on weight, cutting weight, building muscle, whatever it may be. And then looking at the quality and the nutrient breakdown of it, getting more to the specifics
too. Like it's not supposed to be easy. That's like, it can be simple, but sometimes it just needs to be hard at first, and then eventually you'll adapt. But like at our gym right now, we're doing a specific nutrition challenge. And the first week, everyone was like, dude, I'm dying. It's so much food. And then I asked everyone this week, how you feeling? They're like, great. Not nearly as, not as full. Still a good amount of food, but like, I'm not stuffing myself. Like, it is amazing how quickly our bodies are like, oh, food. Yeah. Thank God. It just takes a couple days, because what you've been doing for 3 decades is not just going to suddenly be overturned in 3 days.
Nope. So making sure that you get adequate protein, plenty of vegetables, and fruit. Get in your seeds, your healthy fats, your poly
Healthy
and mono
fats.
unsaturated, your omega 3s and 6s.
In
Are
a
are you doing like the gangster sign?
well, I'm just making sure there's a ratio. We're
Oh,
all gonna have omega sixes. Omega threes are ideal, but
right. Yes. So that's where, if you guys want to go back, you can listen to the episode on krill oil and
yeah.
talk about those. So highly, good episode. Highly recommend on talking about omega 3s and the benefits to them.
We're
But
biased. We think all our episodes are good.
yeah, it's true.
I was like, great
But
episode.
making sure that you have, while you are getting in fruits and vegetables, make sure that not be afraid of the starches,
Yeah.
especially if you're training. You
Yeah.
need carbohydrates enough to support, again, your goals, but not to aid in body fat.
Mm.
But maybe you're trying to put on muscle and you're like, okay, I can afford a few extra pounds of body fat.
Mhm.
That's okay too. That's okay. Eat for your goals. Eat for your performance. Eat for your goals.
It's Vulcan season, baby.
It's classic. All the bodybuilders are like, yeah.
That's literally how I am, and I'm not even bulking. I'm like sweatshirts, sweats. Yes, I'm like a big t-shirt kind of person. The what's that called? The Gains cover or something like that.
Oh, the pump cover.
Pump cover. Yeah,
Oh my
that's me. I just like big t-shirts.
gosh. The oversized
I
T-shirt.
might as well just start working out in muumuus. I would die. I should. That'd be so funny. Anyway, continue.
Well, once nutrition has been figured out, and that's probably the hard once along besides setting goals, nutrition can be the hardest part. It shouldn't be.
Mhm.
It really shouldn't be. Nutrition should be easy, but it's something that can get really muddy and really complicated, especially with all the misinformation that's out there.
It's so bad. Some days I just want to be like, all right, I'm over it. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. It's rough.
But once you have that figured out, then we get into the movement. And the best thing we can practice and train are these natural movements, which we typically do every day. And these usually consist of the major lifts: your deadlift, squat, your row, your presses, whether that's bench press, strict shoulder press, push, jerk. And then you can play around with the cleans and snatches because those are really fun to control your power and balance through a more dynamic movement. And
I
these
think a lot of people
overall,
argue, a lot of people too argue, like, well, why are Olympic lifts functional, right? Snatches might not be as functional, but like I've cleaned and jerked many of things from the floor and then put it overhead. So,
who would I think? So like for the Coast Guard,
mhm.
a clean is a really good thing. Like if we got to pull someone out of the water, get a nice power stance, wrap underneath the arms, and you're cleaning that sucker up into your arms and dragging them onto the boat.
Yeah.
So that's, firefighters, same sort of thing. So it's snatch is the one that gets me a little confused. Like, I think it's more like core control.
I just think like
snatch.
it's more of a it's one thing that you don't have to do for functionality, but it's a personal challenge because it's a heavy load that's far from your body at some point, right? So if you can control a heavy load at full extension, like that's overhead in sometimes a very deep squat, like you've got a lot of mind body awareness, you've got a lot of core control, mobility, like there's a lot of things that go into it. So I think I section it in more of the like, if that's something that you want to challenge yourself with, then great, but it's not something that you need to do to be better at picking up your kids. So What? You got like a
I wanted to look it up to see like when you would be using a snatch, like in an everyday life. I didn't find anything.
it reminds me of that thing you posted the other day. It was like when someone says to like you tell someone to Google it or something, and you're right.
Told you so.
Got you, but you did
Um,
it.
these strength and power movements directly will help in the natural movements we do every day. And then along with these, then we get into like the quote unquote gymnastics. But realistically, these are starting with basics, things you can do every day, almost anywhere. A pull-up, dips, push-ups, sit-ups. Then we get into more like the advanced of rope climb, handstand walks, then all the flips and the other stuff.
Pullovers.
That's all
Muscle
fluff.
Yeah.
Right. But these are like, I don't know, I only maybe a handful of people in our gym that are like, I'm okay not doing a muscle up.
Yeah.
A lot of people, doesn't even matter if they're at the beginning of a pull up doing a banded assist or a jump slow lower. They see someone do a muscle up,
They're like
gymnastics movement, like, I want to do that.
Kid at a candy store. Yeah, you're like, whoa.
Or a ring muscle up. They're like, what? You just went and snatched like 200 pounds and you jumped up and did that? Like, what the heck? I want to do that.
It just looks cool. It's like,
and it feels cool.
yeah, I think, and that's where I think a lot of people go wrong. They're like kind of hating on CrossFit because they're like, oh, all these movements. I'm like, is it bad to just want to do stuff that's like fun to do and makes you feel like a badass and challenges you in a different way?
Right.
I don't know. I don't think it has to be like a super. Sometimes people just take it too seriously. To me, I'm like, sometimes I just want to see how much I can snatch. It's not this deep philosophical thing. I just want to see how it goes.
With CrossFit, I'm pretty okay. Like, it's like the mentality is like, I'm okay with being average in a diverse range of movements.
Yeah. You just want to be able to do it to some degree. Yeah. Well, and it's pretty cool that when you get the skills down, your body adapts. And then if you do it over like a long period of time, you're consistent, then it's not like, unless you don't do the skill for many years, your body like generally adapts. Like today in our workout, it ended with 10 rope climbs. I haven't climbed a rope in like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I don't know. And I just did 10 rope climbs at the end of my workout. Nope, like no problem. It's not that I had no clue how they would go, but I literally got to like basically stand back. My brain stood back and watched my body just mind muscle connection. Like,
yeah.
So that's the cool part. It's like, yeah, I'm not always climbing ropes outside of the gym, but the fact that like my body knows what to do after a year and a half, it's kind of cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fun being able to climb a rope. I feel like my kids would watch that and be like, whoa, mom's cool. And that's all I care about. I just want my kids to think I'm cool.
And these actually, what I think is really cool about like doing gymnastics movements, like especially like the more advanced. Yes, the pull-ups, dips, push-ups, and sit-ups will definitely directly help with the major lifts.
Mm-hmm.
But these more body weight movements, like the more advanced stuff, help a lot with the coordination, some flexibility, your balance, and then accuracy, not only physically, but neurologically. Having to think about, okay, I need to push away from the bar, bring my feet up, kip with my hips, push down with the bar, pull myself up and over, press out nice and tall at the top of the bar if it's a muscle up. then I need to push away, allow my body to come through, kip, and like it just
You have like 2 seconds to
you
think.
start thinking about it.
Yeah.
You do, but before you get up there, you do a quick synopsis of running that in your head, and then you just get up and you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, yes, that takes training. That takes training and time. And again, you don't have to do it every day. You do it once a week.
Yeah.
But over time, it will all add up. And so now that we've built strength, power, and the ability to move our body with accuracy, now we have to build that engine. And that engine comes from cardiovascular training. For a lot of us, that's our least favorite.
Because it hurts the worst.
It hurts.
It just.
It like takes your soul away sometimes. Like you just, and it leaves you. It leaves you just like wet, ridden hard, and just dead. Like you're just exhausted.
Well, the thing that I think I don't like about endurance is that it's hard to, you can't fail a row or like I mean, you could run till you literally can't walk anymore, but like how many of us
Right.
are actually doing that, right? You can't fail an echo bike. You can go slow as a snail, but it's not like you can just with heavy weights, you either squat the weight or you don't.
Yeah.
But with biking or rowing, like you go to a point where you like cannot push the engine, but you still got to finish the workout, and that sucks because
Gotta
like
move.
your whole body is just like flailing everywhere. Like yesterday, I did the bike in the row interval workout, and the last row, I was like, no, I could really go for not doing this right now. But it's not like I was going to stop.
Mhm.
That's the worst part. You got to keep going no matter how bad it hurts. That's the only way you get better.
Yep. And so for cardiovascular training, it just means get out. It could mean get out and run, go for a 5K or walk, do a fast walk, get your heart rate up, go for a 5K, do sprints, hill run, stairs. If it's not running, then go for a bike ride, go swim. The majority of big box gyms, if you're more into like the bodybuilding scene and doing like a 24-hour fitness, LA Fitness, they usually have some sort of bike, a rower, a stair mill, an elliptical, a treadmill. Just get your ass on it and move fast. Whether that's fast and controlled, as in like a really fast walk,
Mm-hmm.
low impact, or if you're going to hit some sprints on it. But that cardiovascular training is the thing that will level you up.
Your lungs feel good. Then you can push harder in workouts. As you get stronger, it's not going to be limiting you.
Mhm.
As you get more gymnasty, you'll be able to breathe upside down. Like your lungs have to be developed.
Building the capacity and the endurance of your lungs will directly correlate with your big lifts.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to shuttle blood around in your body more efficiently will not only prolong exhaustion, but it decreases the amount of lactate that ends up building up in your muscles.
Mm-hmm.
You got anything else to add to that cardio one?
It's hard, but it's necessary.
Absolutely. Lastly is the frequency. So
Gotta do it a lot. Do it often.
So the cool thing is you don't have to do just what we said. This I'd recommend, like, overall getting up and moving around 5 to 6 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
Move around, mix this stuff around with different combinations or patterns, intensities. all of these, what we just talked about, allows you to get creative. Really easy thing you can do is find a really good training program. Do they all have their setbacks? Yes, they all do. But it's structure,
Yeah.
it's a direction, something to help you get moving.
And the reality
Um,
is like once you get on this track of fitness, there is no end day. Like there is no last day. Like it is the rest of your life. And then eventually you're just going to turn yourself into like your own little science experiment, how EJ and I have basically with ourselves. Like, I didn't really like this training program. On to the next one. Or, oh, I don't really feel like doing strength anymore. Let's go for triathlon training. Like, that's the beauty of fitness is that it's a lifelong journey and you can change it however you want. And that's like my favorite piece of advice that I tell people who are just getting into it is like, don't get so caught up in what you're doing today that you forget that this is literally the rest of your life. You have so much time to change your mind. And if you don't find joy in what you're doing now, then you can change it. You just can't stop because you're going to go downhill so fast and you want to live a strong and healthy life.
Yeah. Find something and stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
Something that gives you diversity. You're not doing the same thing every week. This is one of the reasons why we like CrossFit, because you go
Always
in
different.
and it's different.
Yeah.
It's always different. You might be following a certain lifting cycle. You might have some reoccurring lifts, but there's always that Metcon or the workout of the day that you're not ready for. That's going to hit you in avenues that going to test you.
I would say it's always varied, but it's never random.
Yes.
So make sure your training isn't random.
Yeah. Have a goal with your training. Then obviously if you're doing, again, this doesn't have to be just this stuff. This can be going out and playing soccer. You just go hit the basketball court. You just go out and throw baseball with your friends, with your kid. Especially if you want to hit like some recovery movement. Simple movement stuff. Work on your cardio. Work on your strength. Any of these. But I guess like for me, the biggest thing that really it's like a pet peeve, and this kind of correlates to our last episode, is the mindset with people like, I don't have time to go work out.
None of us have time for anything. Okay, you figure it out. You make time.
or I guess what's even worse is, not as worse, but just along the same lines is, I want to lose weight before I go start working out.
Yeah, or like I need to be fitter before I start CrossFit. It's like, what's the point? Go
figure out so like we said, figure out the goals, figure out some game plan with your nutrition, then start moving. It's once you figure out the game plan with your nutrition, work on that and move. Mm-hmm. If you can get up off the couch or from your desk at home and walk to the fridge and walk back, then you can afford to exercise. Mm-hmm. Do some push-ups, do some sit-ups, walk around the block 3 times. Mm-hmm. Go for an evening walk after dinner. Go for a jog. I don't know. Go lift the end of your couch. I don't know.
Vary it too. Like, don't be afraid to mess around. Like, change things. I mean, like, say Monday you walk around the block 3 times and then you do 100
air squats.
And then the next day you run around your block twice and you do 50 push-ups. And then Wednesday you do like maybe that's your day you're feeling a little beat up. So you do a nice slow hour-long walk with yoga. And then the next day, Thursday, you're feeling good. Maybe you see how far you can carry your kid in the front hold position, and then do 50 tricep dips off your couch. Like there are so many ways you could do. I mean, and that's partially why I have a weight vest in the back room. And like anytime I just have an extra 30 minutes or an hour, I just put the weight vest on and I go on a alternate like walk run kind of situation, and that's like a little bit of extra movement. Everything counts.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just, that piece of advice of like, just don't get so caught up on what you're doing on that one day or that one meal, or, that like you forget that this is the rest of your life. You mess up one day, no big deal. Move on, pick it up the next day. Tearing yourself apart because you goofed up once is just not helping anyone.
And if you're having troubles or figuring out where to start, just like your goals, just like your nutrition, it can even account towards your training. Get with a coach. Get with a coach, even if you're just going to sit and have a one-on-one just to figure out, where do I start? Emma, where do I start? EJ, where do I start? I have these goals. I need to do this. I don't like feeling this way.
Mm-hmm.
I need help. And that's what we're here for. We're here to help. But that all being said, this is the outline to fitness. Like, this is what will get you headed in the right direction and get you to where you want to be. It's all dependent on your goals. But just get started. Just do it. It's like that. Was it Shia LaBeouf?
Just do it.
Do it.
That's true. Just gotta do it.
Yep. Because there's nothing worse than, it's either you put in the time and maybe the finances to do it now, or you're going to be paying a whole hell of a lot more with medical bills when you're older.
Yeah.
And always realize that you get to do this.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to. You get to. So figure out a plan. Go and move. Work on your fitness.
Mm.
You're going to get it right. I don't know. I got it.
Every week you're like, I've got to mess it up. You do it right.
All right, guys.
Message us if you need any help. We're here.
Yep. Hit us up. Ask questions. Yours has your Instagram handle. I must have adjusted mine.
Yeah, you changed yours.
It's literally.
Literally?
Literally.
What are we hitting the quitty?
Now? Let's see. Save. Boom.
Bam. Look at that.
So, hit us up. Hit us up. If you guys have questions, you can always send me an email at nutrition@346CrossFit.com. Any questions on nutrition? If I can't answer them, I will either look it up or ask my trusted partner, Emma, if she knows what's up, because she's also a nutrition coach. So go and talk with her as well. But I wish you guys the best in your adventure or your venture to towards whatever goals you guys might have. And as always, like, subscribe, comment, and we will catch you guys on the next episode. Bye.